pregnant," she whispered. Mama Grace knelt in front of her, lifting her chin gently. Tears glistened on both their cheeks. "My daughter," Mama Grace said softly, her voice breaking. "Do you know what you have done to me? To yourself? To this family?" She paused, her chest heaving. "No, don't cry. Just answer me. Who is responsible?" Lina's lips quivered. "Mama, if I say it, you will not believe me. You will think I am lying." "I am your mother!" Mama Grace cried. "Tell me the truth, Lina, and let me stand with you. Please." "What will I tell your father?" She only whispered through tears. "Mama, I am afraid. If I say it, Papa will never forgive me. In every town, there is always one daughter people admire. Beautiful, humble, respectful, the pride of her mother and the heartbeat of her father. But one morning in Greenfield, whispers began to grow, shame entered the chief's compound, and a hidden truth shattered the peace of their family forever. Stay tuned as we dive into the true life story. Lina woke pale that morning, leaning weakly against the doorway of their house, her mother's eyes already scanning her face. "My child, are you sick?" Mama Grace asked, rushing to her side. "I'll be fine," Lina whispered. "Just a little fever. I already took medicine." But the next day, Lina staggered into the yard, clutched her stomach, and vomited behind the mango tree. Mama Grace, alarmed, ran to hold her shoulders. "This is not fever," Mama Grace said, her voice trembling. "Tell me the truth, Lina. What is happening to you?" Lina only shook her head, but the secret inside her was already too heavy to hide. The small clinic at the edge of Greenfield was quiet that afternoon, the kind of silence that carried worry instead of peace. The walls were painted pale blue, though time had made the paint peel. Old posters clung stubbornly to the walls. "Know your status. Protect the girl child. Eat vegetables every day." Lina sat on the wooden bench, her shoulders drooping, her face pale. Mama Grace sat close, one hand wrapped around her daughter's thin fingers, as if she could squeeze the sickness out with love. Nurse Clara had already checked Lina's pulse, temperature, and eyes. She took blood, asked questions, and stepped into the small lab room. For nearly half an hour, mother and daughter waited in the stifling heat of the clinic. Mama Grace whispered prayers under her breath. Lina leaned her head against the wall, eyes shut. At last, the door opened, and Nurse Clara walked in, holding a file against her chest. She glanced once at Lina, then quickly turned to Mama Grace. "Mama, please, can I see you outside?" Mama Grace frowned. "Outside? Say it here. Whatever you want to tell me, say it before my child." The nurse hesitated, her lips pressing into a tight line. "Mama, it is delicate. I am her mother. There is nothing you can say that I should not hear with her." Nurse Clara lowered her voice. "It is not her I am protecting. It is you. Come outside, please." Mama Grace's chest tightened. Reluctantly, she stood, squeezing Lina's hand one more time before following the nurse into the narrow corridor. The air smelled of disinfectant and dust. The nurse closed the door behind them, looked Mama Grace in the eyes, and spoke softly. "Mama, your daughter is not sick with fever or malaria. The tests are clear. She is pregnant." The word hit like a hammer. Mama Grace's eyes widened, her mouth opened, but no sound came. She staggered back a step, pressing her palm against her chest. Pregnant? No. That is not possible. She is still a child, my only daughter. You must have made a mistake. Run the test again." Nurse Clara shook her head gently. "I'm sure. And it is not early. From the signs, she is already about 6 months along." Mama Grace's legs trembled. She gripped the wall for balance. 6 months? Since when? How? Who? Why did she not say anything? Her voice broke, rising with each question. The nurse reached out, steadying her shoulder. "Mama, I understand your shock. But I have no answers except what the test says. You will need to talk to her." Tears filled Mama Grace's eyes. How could this happen under my roof without my knowing? 6 months in my own house? She shook her head violently, as if to scatter the truth away. Be strong, the nurse whispered. For her. If you break down now, she may never speak. Mama Grace wiped her face with the edge of her wrapper, swallowed hard, and forced herself to walk back inside. On the bench, Lina looked up the moment her mother entered, her eyes wide with fear. Mama! What did she say? For a long moment, Mama Grace could not speak. Her throat felt like it was tied in knots. Finally, she sat beside her daughter and whispered, My child, the nurse says, You are with child. 6 months. Lina's lips parted. Tears welled instantly. She lowered her head, silent sobs shaking her shoulders. Mama Grace's heart cracked. She cupped her daughter's face with trembling hands. Who is responsible, Lina? Please, tell me the truth. Do not let me drown in questions. I am your mother. Even if the world points fingers, I will still hold you. Who did this? But Lina only cried harder, shaking her head. Mama, I cannot say. If I say, you will not believe me. You will think I am lying. Mama Grace's chest ached. She drew her daughter close, pressing her head against her shoulder, but the tears kept flowing. The walk back home was heavy. The dusty road stretched endlessly before them. Market women called out prices. Tomatoes 3 for $10, onions fresh today. But to Mama Grace, it sounded like distant echoes. Children ran past, laughing, carrying sticks and kites. But her eyes saw none of it. Lina walked beside her, carrying the weight of silence. Every step felt like stepping deeper into shame. Her eyes stayed on the ground, afraid to meet anyone's gaze. Mama Grace held the small brown envelope the nurse had given her. Test results she didn't want to read again. Her other hand clutched her wrapper, twisting it as if wringing water from cloth. At one point, Mama Grace stopped in the middle of the road. She turned to her daughter, tears brimming again. My child, why did you hide this from me? 6 months, 6 months, Lina. I see you every day. I serve you food, I watch you sleep. Why didn't you tell me? Lina's voice was broken. Mama, I was afraid. I thought if I told you, you would not believe me either. Mama Grace's heart squeezed with pain. She reached out, held her daughter's hand and whispered, Even if the whole world refuses you, I will not. You are my blood. But deep inside, she also knew. When Daniel, her husband, the chief, returned tonight, this secret would not end with tears alone. The closer they drew to their compound, the heavier her chest became. The sun was sinking low, and so was her peace. The gate creaked as Mama Grace and Lina stepped back into their compound. The air smelled of evening fires, neighbors pounding yams, stew simmering, children shouting at play. But inside the chief's house, silence clung like smoke after a fire. Mama Grace set the brown envelope from the clinic on the wooden table. She stared at it as though it were a snake. Pregnant, she whispered, the word bitter on her tongue. She pressed her palms together, trembling. Lina sank onto the woven mat in the corner of the sitting room. Her face was buried in her palms. Her shoulders shook with sobs that she tried to hold back. Mama Grace knelt in front of her, lifting her chin gently. Tears glistened on both their cheeks. My daughter, Mama Grace said softly, her voice breaking. Do you know what you have done to me? To yourself? To this family? She paused, her chest heaving. No, don't cry. Just answer me. Who is responsible? Lina's lips quivered. Mama, if I say it, you will not believe me. You will think I am lying. I am your mother, Mama Grace cried, clutching her daughter's hands tightly. I carried you 9 months. I labored for you. I raised you with prayers. Tell me the truth, Lina, and let me stand with you. Please. But Lina's sobs grew harder. She shook her head, burying her face in her mother's lap. Mama Grace stroked her hair, but her tears fell into the strands. Her heart was tearing open. She looked toward the door, dread rising. Your father? she whispered, almost to herself. What will I tell your father? The room seemed to grow darker as the sun dipped behind the hills. Shadows stretched across the floor. Mama Grace stood, restless, pacing. She opened the cupboard, pulled out a pot, closed it again. She lit a lantern, blew it out, then lit it again, her hands trembling. Nothing she did could quiet the pounding of her heart. In the corner, Lina sat silently, rocking slightly, her eyes red and swollen. She pressed her hand against her stomach as though begging the child inside to stay still, to not reveal itself any further. At one point, Mama Grace sat beside her again, holding her shoulders. Lina, listen to me. Your father has a heart like firewood, hard, dry, ready to burn. If you do not speak now, if you do not tell me who is responsible, how can I defend you when he comes? How can I hold you when the storm breaks? Lina looked into her mother's eyes, lips trembling, but still, the words refused to come. She only whispered through tears, Mama, I am afraid. If I say it, Papa will never forgive me. Mama Grace pressed her forehead against her daughter's, both of them shaking with silent cries. Oh God, she prayed aloud, give me strength. Do not let tonight destroy us. Outside, a dog barked. Voices from the village meeting drifted faintly in the distance. The sound of footsteps grew nearer. The gate creaked open. Chief Daniel was home. The storm had arrived. The heavy wooden gate moaned open, and Chief Daniel stepped into the compound with the measured dignity of a man who carried the village on his shoulders. His staff tapped the ground as he walked. The faint smell of palm wine clung to him, mixed with dust from the long meeting. He paused as he always did, to listen to the night. Crickets sang. A baby cried in a neighbor's hut. Somewhere far off a drumbeat called people to prayer. Home, to him, had always been the place of rest, the place of pride. Grace, he called, his voice firm but calm. Mama Grace hurried out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on her wrapper, forcing a shaky smile. Welcome, my husband. The day has ended well? Yes, he said, setting down his staff, stretching his tired shoulders. The council listened. My words still carry weight. He sat on his favorite cane chair, exhaling deeply. And how is the market? Was it busy? Mama Grace's lips trembled. Busy? Yes. And Lina? He asked, glancing toward the inner corridor. Where is my daughter? Has she eaten? His voice softened at her name. She is my joy. The words stabbed Mama Grace's heart. She swallowed hard, her eyes stinging. For a moment, she almost wished to stay silent, to hide the truth forever. But it pressed on her chest, like a stone. My husband, she whispered, her voice thin. I need to tell you something. Daniel frowned. What is it? Why do you look so troubled? She gripped her wrapper tightly, her knuckles white. Our daughter. She has been sick, weak. I thought it was malaria. I took her to the clinic today. They ran tests. Daniel leaned forward, listening. And? Mama Grace's voice broke. They said she is 6 months pregnant. The cane chair scraped violently against the floor as Daniel shot to his feet. His eyes bulged, his chest heaved. What? His voice thundered through the compound, echoing beyond the walls. Pregnant? 6 months? Under my roof? Lina appeared in the doorway, her small body trembling, her face streaked with tears. Daniel's eyes locked on her like fire finding dry grass. Come here, he roared. Stand before me, now. Her legs shook, but she stepped forward, kneeling at his feet. Tell me, Daniel demanded, his voice trembling with fury. Is it true? Open your mouth and say it. Lina's voice was barely a whisper. Papa, it is true. Daniel staggered back as though struck. He clutched the edge of the chair for balance, his breath ragged. Whose child? Tell me the man. Which fool dared to disgrace my house? Lina shook her head, tears spilling. Papa, I cannot say. If I tell you, you will not believe me. Not believe you? Daniel's voice cracked with rage. You think I will swallow riddles in my own house? You bring shame to me, shame to my name, shame to your mother, and then you sit there crying? Speak! Who is the father?" Lina sobbed, covering her face. "Papa, please, I cannot." Daniel's fist slammed against the table, rattling the lamp. "Silence!" he roared. "You dare defy me in my own house? You will leave this place tonight." Mama Grace dropped to her knees, crawling to him, clutching his legs, weeping uncontrollably. "Daniel, please. She is our only child, the only one who calls me Mama. Do not throw her away like this. She has no place to go. For the love of God, my husband, do not send her out tonight." But Daniel's pride was louder than her pleas. He shook her hands off, his face twisted with anger. "Better to have no child than to carry shame in my house. Let her go before my anger consumes me." He pointed at the door with a shaking hand. "Out! Take your disgrace and go." "Mama!" Lina's voice broke, reaching for her mother as tears ran down her cheeks. Mama Grace's heart split. She hurried into Lina's room, fumbling for a small bag. Her hands shook so badly she dropped a wrapper twice before folding it. She added a blouse, a tattered Bible, and a little bundle of money tied in cloth. She pressed it into her daughter's palm. "My child," she whispered through sobs, her voice trembling so hard the words broke. "Eat when you can. Do not sleep where your spirit says no. And remember, no matter how far your feet carry you, my heart follows behind." She hugged her daughter tightly, tears soaking into her hair. But Daniel stood firm, his face a mask of stone, though his eyes flickered with pain. The gate creaked open. Lina lifted her small suitcase, her whole body shaking. She looked once at her father, whose face turned away, then once at her mother, who clung to the gatepost weeping. Then she stepped into the night. The gate closed with a heavy sound. Outside, whispers rippled through the darkness. Neighbors who had gathered near the fence. Is it true? The chief's daughter? Ah, what a shame. The night swallowed Lina's footsteps, and in the chief's house, silence broke into sobs. The gate closed with a groan, its echo heavy in the still night. Lina stood outside for a heartbeat, clutching the little suitcase in one hand, the bundle of money pressed to her chest in the other. She looked back once, at the dim lantern light leaking through the cracks of the gate, at the home where she had been born, laughed, and prayed. Then she turned, and the night swallowed her. The dust clung to her slippers as she walked past the market road. Empty stalls stood like skeletons, their tables covered with raffia mats. A rat darted across the path. A dog barked lazily. In the distance, young men's laughter carried from a palm wine hut. Their voices dropped when they saw her. Is that not Chief Daniel's daughter? What is she doing outside at this time? Carrying a bag? Shame has wings, it flies even at night. Their words stung, but Lina did not raise her head. She walked faster, the tears blurring her eyes. Every step felt heavier than the last, as though the ground itself wanted to hold her back. Behind the gate she had left, Mama Grace sank to the floor, her face buried in her hands. She wept without restraint, her cries filling the compound. My child, my only child. O Lord, where will she sleep tonight? Who will give her water? Who will shield her from the cold? Chief Daniel stood in the middle of the room, his staff leaning against the wall, his chest heaving. He stared at the door his daughter had just left through. His lips trembled as if words wanted to come, but pride pressed them back down. His wife's cries pierced him, but still he said nothing. He lowered himself into his cane chair, his eyes hollow, his fists clenched. Outside the compound, whispers spread quickly. At the roadside, two women fetching water paused. Did you hear? The chief's daughter is pregnant. Another woman clicked her tongue. 6 months, imagine, and he drove her out. But where will she go at night? Who knows? These things happen when children lose shame. The whispers grew, carried from one mouth to another, until the whole village breathed the story. Lina walked and walked until her legs could no longer carry her. Past the last house, past the old mango tree, she reached a locked kiosk. Please subscribe for other interesting parts. This story has 4 interesting parts. Follow to find out what happened to Lina and the family. At the end, you will believe that nothing in life happens by mistake. Everything is planned by God. Don't miss out any single part of this story.